So, as you can tell from the title of the video, I'm sure you'll be able to figure out what the topic is going to be about, but it might not be what you expect. In fact, some of this might be downright unpopular in today's pseudo-intellectual YouTube environment, but if you've been watching me for a while, you know I couldn't give less of a shit what anyone thinks. First, so is feminism hurting women? I kind of want to cover that a bit. I think so, because it's taking non-issues such as air conditioner temperatures, manspreading, and mansplaining and treating them like serious problems in society that need to be addressed. Now, this is a problem because if you're someone treating these things as legitimate issues, you're going to be a laughing stock, and no one with half a brain is going to take you seriously. The label has become an absolute joke thanks to stupidity like this. However, I've noticed many anti-feminists, this is not my label for them, this is how they self-identify, just to be clear, will completely dismiss any issue relating to women simply because it's not what they want to hear. I may have lost some of you right there, because some of you people are so invested in your own narrative that you've completely missed the part where you've become no better than the ideas you challenge. Just because feminism has its fair share of crazy people does not mean that there are simply no problems that women face. Are they oppressed? Well, of course they're not oppressed, at least not here in the Western world, but that doesn't change the fact that there are ways in which people are treated that can be improved. Part of the problem is engendering issues itself, but the other is that some people do follow gender roles to a T and act in stereotypical ways. Now, if you're going to ask for evidence, I'm going to have to forward you to one of those logic and reason channels that you think make you all sound so smart because you listen to some guy that can't stop jerking himself off about how rational and objective he is. They're too busy with their heads up their own asses, spinning their own narratives and picking out logical fallacies, which apparently everyone on YouTube is suddenly proficient in, to even bother acknowledging that men as a whole are not these towering pillars of morality that are just being harassed by feminists. Does it happen? Sure it does, but so does the opposite. This is a stream of consciousness, so take that as you will. My evidence is anecdotal, but I'm not the type of person to make the claim that just because I've seen it personally, that speaks for all. No, I acknowledge that it doesn't, but at the same time, it means on some level, things like this do happen, regardless of whether or not it is a minority behaving this way. I have witnessed various situations firsthand where a female is being treated in less than stellar ways by a male. You know, they were being degraded, treated as though because they were attractive, these guys didn't have any self-control, and thought for whatever reason they had the right, to speak to them any way they like and, you know, put their hands on them. I even used to work with a couple of guys that would take photos of female customers' bodies that came in the store, and they would text them to each other. You can't convince me that that's not screwed up behavior. I get the impression that most people on the internet would view me as a so-called white knight because I have spoken up on the behalf of women in some of these situations where I felt it was necessary. Now, some people think, oh, well, it's just because they're women that you're defending them. Well, no. No, it's not. It's because I had respect for these women on an individual level, or respect for personal boundaries. You know, they were friends, significant others, coworkers. The point is that they were being treated poorly by someone, and I helped them out because that's what people that care about others do. I also acted because, in my opinion, they were right in the situation. Had they been wrong, I'll be honest, I may not have defended them, but I probably would have at least kept an eye out to make sure the situation didn't get physical, because I personally don't see the honor in a guy beating on a girl that has, you know, little to no chance against him. Do I think a woman should strike first? No. I don't think anyone should be hitting anyone, just for the record. So what's my point? Well, the point is that we all scoff at, you know, modern feminism and their ridiculous narratives of oppression and rape culture, but not all women believe in those things. I'll even venture to say not all women that call themselves feminists believe those things, you know, misguided as their label may be. And not all men are just these poor, misunderstood souls that need a movement to protect them. Men can be douchebags. I've met many. I won't call them misogynists, but they certainly didn't have common decency or no boundaries when it came to respecting people who happen to be females. Does that mean all women are angels? No, it doesn't. I've met many that were downright terrible people. People can be horrible no matter what they have residing between their legs. I think siding with someone just because you share the same biological sex is idiotic in general. That being said, there certainly is some validity to the idea that there are men out there, and I hate to use this word, that objectify women and treat them as though their sole reason for existing is to please them sexually. Does that mean women never objectify men? No, it does not. Does that mean one issue is more important than the other? No, it does not. But let's be fair. Most men aren't offended by the idea of a woman acting aggressively attracted to them, especially if they find her attractive. Now, that's not something I'm personally interested in, so I'm sure there are other guys that aren't either, but more often than not, that's the view I've seen expressed. Could the same be said of some women? I'm sure, but most of the time, people that are okay with this treatment from both sides don't seem to meet up. When the behavior only comes from one side toward an individual who is not comfortable with it, that's where it becomes an issue, and far too often I have seen it cause discomfort. I don't know how kids are being raised these days, but yelling out to people on the streets about how hot you think they are or the things you'd like to do to them isn't a way to make friends or, have a chance at any kind of relationship. Are there people that don't fit the generalities? Of course. I'm personally one of them. I judge people on an individual basis. I respect the boundaries of others. And I don't think making sexual commentary toward a woman's body who I barely know is a good way to compliment her or speak to them. I'd probably be looked at as a bit of a traditionalist because when I'm in a relationship, I tend to treat my significant other in what might be described as a bit of a chivalrous manner. I'll open doors and things like that. I don't do it because I don't think a woman is capable. I do it because I like to do little things to show my appreciation towards someone I care about. Of course, it's important to me that these gestures are reciprocated in some way, as I wouldn't want to feel, taken advantage of. I also have male friends that treat their significant others and other women in their lives very well, so I don't think the whole of any gender is awful. I just feel as though with all the diatribe and outright dismissal I've seen as of late, people need to step back and remind themselves that anyone can be an idiot, and this whole idea of gender wars is downright ridiculous for the simple fact that neither side is perfect, because people as a whole are flawed and will never completely agree on things or all behave in a respectable manner. Just want to show you one thing before we go, and that is, let's see if I can pull it up, this comment, okay? Now, some will write it off as just a troll, but I assure you it's not. I read the thread that it came from. I'm sick and tired of the internet and its choose a side mindset. I've got a great idea. Everyone can go get bent.